Welcome back to Podcast Recovery, everyone. We're your hosts, David O.
And Carly R.
And behind the fucking door now is Eric V.
What? I can't see you now, David. Where'd you go?
Shut up.
David, where are
it's
you?
Really, I don't like this. I don't like this
David,
at all.
where'd you go?
Shut up.
Oh, no.
Shut up. And today we're doing our longtime friend and guest. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm so glad we finally... we've wanted to get you on for years, and you were reluctant for a while.
We've known you now for,
and then,
a dozen years? No? We've known that?
12 years? Yeah, something like that. And it was what? Yeah. Brian F's? Who convinced you? So, haha.
Brian convinced you?
I don't remember if anyone actually convinced me. I was reluctant because I was new in my career and just anonymity reasons.
Yeah, of course.
And then I think being more established in my career and not worrying about something happening.
Yeah.
That's how I feel now, too, a little bit.
So, where are you from, Matt?
I grew up in Columbia, Maryland.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I know you did as well, right?
Mean streets of Seatown, baby. Well, hell yeah.
Did you guys go to the same school, or did you go to Howard?
No, you went to Athelton, right?
I went to Hammond.
You went to Hammond. I went to Oakland Mills. So
I don't know what Hammond is.
Hammond is King's Contrivance area. Hammond's kind of like tucked away in its own little corner.
King's Contrivance, I almost feel like is more of like Montgomery County. Like you've passed Columbia Mall to me.
No.
To me, I'm saying.
Okay.
Just someone from Baltimore.
You're a Baltimore County kid.
You're Montgomery County now at this point.
When were you first introduced to recovery?
Probably around 15 or 16.
Yeah.
My parents, they were on it early with my addiction.
Mm-hmm.
They put me in drug counseling, and drug counseling is, hey, go to NA.
Yep.
Did you go to Columbia Addiction Center?
I did not. I mostly went to the Howard County Health Department.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just wanted to make sure if you were part of the team,
Yeah. I don't even know if Howard County Health Department still does. I don't know what the situation is.
I'm sure they do.
It was so long ago.
I'm sure they do. And how long have you been clean?
15 years.
15 years.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Long time.
And with all that out of the way, I'm turning it over to you. Share your story with us. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Hell yeah, man.
So yeah, like I said, man, I got into. I won't talk too much about using. It's podcast recovery.
That's the good shit, man.
So I'll focus on that. But just to get into it, man, I started using young. I started using at like 13.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like that. Most people's lives, that's like the pivotal age where they're learning how to grow up.
Yeah.
They're learning how to, people start getting into relationships.
You're kind of like coming into a level of adulthood to a degree.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're autonomous as a person.
Yep. Starting to be responsible, friendships. Well, I had friends since kids, but I don't know, I guess a different level. Mm-hmm. But I started doing drugs instead of all that.
Fuck yeah.
And when I started using... we drank, like the first time we drank warm beer in the woods.
Ew.
What kind of beer?
I do not remember.
No.
I do not remember.
I think my warm beer in the woods was Milwaukee's Best.
Ew. Beast. Ew.
I don't know. Do kids even use in the woods anymore? I don't know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they do. I'm
like,
sure they do.
I mean,
in Howard
the
County,
woods and bathrooms, there's always going to be a close place in people's heart for using drugs in bathrooms and woods.
Yeah, that's true. I know with weed, it's getting more socially acceptable. Like even as we were teenagers, I think like with weed, teenagers just smoke out in the open.
Oh yeah, like they're not even afraid anymore, and it's like
no, I saw a bunch of teenagers go behind they just went behind McDonald's the other day, like open.
Okay,
and just start smoking. I was like, okay.
My warm beer was Natty Ice, not Natty Light, which is both of them are horrible.
I'm Natty Light.
Of course you are. You had to watch your calories.
Natty Light.
Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, so and smoking weed shortly after that. And I like set these rules for myself, like, hey, you're only gonna smoke and drink on the weekends, and that's it. Not after school, none of that. Mm-hmm. And those rules just quickly changed.
Yeah.
Started getting into other drugs. Mm-hmm. I think before I got into other drugs, like it was mostly the weed, and what happened was like, oh, Thursday after school is okay too.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you're like, it'll be a 3-day weekend. So.
Yeah, pretty quickly, just every day after school, and then
fuck yeah,
in the morning before school, and sneaking across the street during lunch. All the other drugs came into play. I won't get into the details of which one, but there wasn't anything I was afraid to do. If it was there, I'm willing to try it.
Did you ever get high before school?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Did you ever get high before school?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Carly's my angel. I didn't think she would do stuff like that.
Yeah, but Carly's like doing coke in like the bathroom at a school, like while she's like teaching kids, like
Good Lord.
Like
he's not wrong.
I know, but
I used to shoot.
Sounds
dope.
rude when he says it.
I mean, I used to shoot dope while I taught kids tennis and like porta potties.
That is not
like,
surprising at all.
It's like if you have to be around kids, you just have to find the bathroom.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Anyway.
That ties into what I was gonna say next. Is like
fucking right.
like with the weed, it would be before or after school. Sometimes we sneak across the street during lunch.
Oh yeah.
But it was harder to use weed in school. So like when I got into other drugs, you could just go in the bathroom at any time and use it.
Yep.
So all those rules I set, forget about them.
Yeah.
Everything in my life kind of got pushed to the side. Y'all know I'm big into skateboarding. I have been since I was young. That was one thing, like, all I wanted to do before the drugs was that's all I wanted to do was skateboard.
Yeah.
And at some point, like, we would get dropped off at the skate park, maybe skate for, like, just long enough to make sure our parents are gone and then leave and get high. And then we'd come back and wouldn't even really skate. And I would just, like, be carrying around my skateboard, and it just took that away.
Yeah.
That went away. Any friendships that didn't also go into using went away. There was a few people that expressed concern, and I just kind of shoved it off, and they made it an appropriate decision for them to not really be part of my life. I started, family troubles came in. As I mentioned, my parents got me into drug counseling, which said, hey, go to a meeting.
Was there a specific event that led to that? Like, I don't know, an intervention or, I don't know, an arrest, anything? Or they were just like one day?
Not any arrests yet. I don't remember if there was a specific event that led to the drug counseling. I do remember there was one time, my parents must have been suspicious or something. Yeah. There was one day I had a friend over, and I thought my dad had left. No. And he might have. I never know, but he might have pretended to leave. And we're
that does happen.
Me and my friend are smoking weed in the bedroom, and he just like walks in, and he's like, says to my friend, "You need to leave." Yeah. But yeah, drug counseling said, take him to NA, or AA, or just take him to meetings, and so I went. I had no interest in getting clean yet.
Yeah, fuck no.
But I got my introduction. Eventually, I started getting arrested. They also said go to meetings.
Yeah. Howard County cops love busting kids. I swear to God, they love it.
Well, I told you, dude. There was 7 cop cars when I got busted. Yeah, dude. I had I had some drugs, but again, like, why were there 7 cop cars? I was 18. I weighed like 140.
Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna do?
I remember this. I think it was the second time. No, this was the first time I got arrested. Like a week or two. Actually, I don't want to say how long, but sometime before that happened, a group of my friends got arrested there before, and the cops were like, "This is our new favorite spot." Oh, that's funny. They're always making like corny jokes.
Yeah, I know.
The last time I got arrested, I think I was on dope, and I think I fell, nodded out in the back of the cop car. No. And the cop bangs on the window. He's like, "Wake up, asshole!"
Yeah, wake up, motherfucker. Dude, the worst cop line that ever happened to me, it was when I got my fireworks citation. We're like somewhere in like a soccer field of an elementary school setting off Roman candles, and these 2 cops come biking up, and they were like, "Don't fucking run, you'll just be tired when you go to jail." And I was like, what the fuck? I just started laughing. I was like, "Are you fucking serious, dude?" He was like, "I just didn't want you to run." I was like, I get it, but that's the weakest line I've ever heard.
I hear that. Yeah, they got lines. It's funny. It's almost like what you would see in TV shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I started getting, court slips. Again, still no, my first 2 arrests, still no interest yet.
Yeah.
But I went, I was going once a week. I wasn't attentive. I would sometimes go in the bathroom and use during the meeting. Sometimes, again, I'm still a minor.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I was 18 at this point. But my parents might drop me off at a meeting. I'd wait for them to leave so I could just go outside and smoke cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
But in meetings, we're so repetitive, and it's such a good thing because, those things they say over and over again, go to meetings, get a sponsor, work the steps, get a higher
90
power.
and 90, yep.
I think sponsor, steps, home groups, things like that. They said it enough to where even though I wasn't trying to hear it,
yep,
I heard it.
Mm-hmm.
And, my third arrest, I had to sit for a while, and I think that's where the change in me started to take place.
Mm-hmm.
Because, when I used, I surrounded myself by people doing the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
So from that perspective, I'm doing what's normal based on what's around me.
Yeah.
And, there was always, a couple people around me that I could say, oh, I'm not as bad as that person.
Brad was that person for me.
I hear that.
I was like, I'm not as bad as Brad, and I'm good.
So when I was incarcerated, all those things that I was using to justify were gone. And for the first time, I had to analyze myself. Mm-hmm. And I think part of that is, I'm lucky is there wasn't a lot of things, and there was hardly anything in circulation there.
Yeah.
Like Thorazine, I tried that once or twice. I did not
like
it.
Fuck no. Fuck no.
Oh
God, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, so for the first time I had to look at myself, and I remember people. 2 things. I remember people coming up to me and being like, "You don't want to be my age," still coming in and out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that most of the people in there were in there again.
Oh yeah.
So I saw that it was a cycle, and I saw that if this is my life, if I keep doing this, this is going to be my life in and out. So I became open. There was meetings going in there, so I went and to the meetings in there. Man, I just became open minded.
Yeah.
And I, not to say I was like, oh, I never want to use again.
Yeah.
But I was open enough to give this a try.
Yeah. You kept you just kept a crack in the door just so you could.
Yeah. I mean, I would say even more than that, but I say that to say it wasn't like, I still dealt with temptation.
Yeah, of course.
So I got my mom's a hero. While I was in there, she arranged for me to get into drug court, which sent me to a treatment center and sent me to a halfway house. Mm-hmm. And at those points, I was just ready to dive in. I just, took advantage of everything. Again, when I was in treatment, meetings were brought in. Mm-hmm. My sponsor now, he was my first sponsor. Then I went with Tim. Mm-hmm. And now I'm back with him since Tim moved to Virginia, and I just didn't keep up as good as I would have liked to.
Yeah.
But he came in when I was in treatment, and he said, you need to tell on your disease.
Hell yeah.
You switched sponsors?
Yeah.
To who?
Jason.
That's a great title, by the way, Eric.
What?
You need to tell on your disease.
Oh.
That's a solid
Jason
title.
J?
Yeah.
Oh. We need to get Jason J out.
So wait, what was the title again, David?
You have to tell on your disease.
That is a good title.
We're gonna have to, if we get Jason J on here, we're gonna have to turn the volume way down.
Yeah,
your mic is gonna be barely picking up.
Yeah,
Jason, you're gonna be screaming.
I said it kind of muted. He came in, he was like, and this was 15 years ago, so he was even more energetic.
Oh, I know.
Like,
yeah.
You need to tell on your disease. But
this guy's a little bulldog with him, like
a little Frenchie.
Yeah.
Nope.
Like I said, I was still dealing with temptations a lot, and this was my third treatment center. I used in each one before that, whether it be Suboxone or the first one I snuck stuff in.
Yeah.
So I'm like really tempted, like the people on Suboxone, maybe I can get some of their Suboxone.
Yeah.
So that's like yelling in my head.
Yeah.
And I hear him, you need to tell on your disease. So I take that advice, and I opened up to a group of guys. I was scared too because in rehab, everyone's like, I'm never using again.
Oh, I know, yeah.
If all that stuff. Everyone's all gung-ho when they're in rehab, and I'm like, man, there's part of me that still wants to use.
Yeah.
And but when I opened up and said that, first of all, people were like, "Dude, yeah, yeah, we all still want to use." Mm-hmm. It wasn't how, and but doing that brought those constant yells in my head to like an occasional whisper.
Yeah.
And they would grow back, and I would have to tell them my disease again. So yeah, I like I said, I dove in. You mentioned Brian F. Mm-hmm. He was finishing up there while I was getting started, so I was there with him for a few days.
Oh yeah, because he went to Hammond too.
Yep.
Did you guys go to this? Like, were you guys in high school at the same time?
No, but
he's a little bit older.
No, but funny story. My brother did. My older brother did, and I don't even remember the details of it now. But there was some story about him throwing snowballs at a UPS truck.
I remember
he told that story.
Brian, because he's a little shit. Yeah, Brian's
he told that
fucker.
story on this podcast.
Okay.
Is Brian older than you?
Yeah.
I always thought Brian was like our age. Okay.
He is.
But before
you're 34, 35?
I'm 35. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then Brian's a couple years. I think he's 39.
We're older than you?
Something.
Yeah.
Jesus. God. I hate when this happens.
Oh man.
Shut up, Eric. All right, continue.
But
ignore him. He's behind the door.
So I heard these stories about Brian before I met him. Never knowing how much, how involved. We talked on the phone about I should do better staying in touch with Brian. I love Brian.
Oh yeah.
But we talked on the phone maybe a couple months ago for a little while. Probably more than a couple months. But I heard this story, not having no idea how much of an important role he would play in my life. Because when I got out of the treatment center and I was in the halfway house, it was him and Jason. I can't think of Jason's last initial right now. A different Jason though. Jason D.
Home group Jason or family like old school Jason who was in the home group or in the sponsorship family.
Yep.
He owns like the vape place and shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Who started Vape Dojo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Vape. One of the Vape.
Yeah.
No, he started the dojo. He started the dojo. I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Hell yeah, I remember that.
Him and Brian were in there, and they were both doing it. Mm-hmm. They were both chasing it. They both went back out, but as far as I know Brian's doing good. I ran into Jason, and he seemed to be doing good.
Nice.
We didn't talk much on the recovery aspect, but he seemed to be doing good.
Yeah.
But they were chasing it. Mm-hmm. They had a sponsor, Tim. They were doing step work. They were doing it. They had a home group.
Yeah.
And I just jumped in and started doing what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they jumped off for a while, but I just kept doing what they were doing when I first saw them doing it.
Yep.
So I joined their home group. Y'all know Spiritual Awakening is still my home group today.
We were all part of it at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I got
I was in that home group for 6 years, 7 years, something like that. A long time.
I got Tim was sponsoring them, so I got him to sponsor me. First I got Jason J to sponsor me, but they were working with him weekly.
Yeah.
On step work. We would go to his house like after home group and eat leftover Litos and do a little bit of step work.
Yeah.
And I just dove in like I was ready. I was at this halfway house. I didn't have a car yet, and I want to talk about this for like determination. It was usually easy to get a ride to a meeting from the house. Usually someone from the house would be going, but on weekends, usually people would go out for their pass. Mm-hmm. And like I was on blackout the first 2 weeks, so you couldn't leave the house unless you had someone from the house with you.
Was it the Howard house?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So that one of the guys that worked there, I had this long list of phone numbers from the rehab, and I would go up to the guy. I was like, "Hey, if I get one of these guys to pick me up since no one's here, can I go with?" And he would ask me like, "Who? Which one?" And like I like look at one, I'd be like, "What about this guy?" He's like, "How much clean time they got?"
Who's that? Al?
Vince.
Okay. Yeah.
And he'd be like, "Okay, call him." Mm-hmm. So I like went through this list, and eventually, I think it was Jason J. Was one of the first people who pick me up from that book of numbers I had. And but I was determined to get to a meeting and do what I needed to do for my recovery. So I like just went through that list. I went through each one. He'd be like, "Yep, how much clean time they got?
How much clean time they got? Where are they? What's their name?" Yep.
And I got to a meeting. I'll talk. I was talking to Jason Celebrated. I think it was last week or the week before. I shared it there, but he took me and one of my roommates from there to a meeting, and we went out during the meeting to smoke cigarettes. Again, I'm new, and Jason comes outside. He's like, "What are you doing?
What are you doing?"
I didn't bring you here just to sit outside. So after that, I started sitting in the meeting and staying. Unfortunately, the other guy still, he picked us up the next time. The other guy went out to smoke, didn't stay around.
Yeah.
But, man, I dove in. Like I said, when I was using, you hear a lot of people talk about, I lost this, I lost that, my house, relationship.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Like, I never.
Yeah, you were young.
Right. I never gained these things.
Yeah.
So if I had continued using, I probably never would have.
No.
Drugs was my thing. So, getting clean gave me the opportunity to, relationships, get back into skateboarding, get back into, I don't do hip hop, but I listen to hip hop.
Yep.
That's a big part of my life.
I heard you went to a Wu-Tang concert with Tim.
Yes, I did.
I was talking to him like a couple months ago. He was like, "Yeah, I went to a concert with Matt the other day." I was like, "What concert?" He's like, "Oh, we saw Wu." I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it was Wu-Tang and Nas and Busta Rhymes.
Yeah,
that's too cool.
And
Tim's
obviously,
the man, dude.
obviously, like this isn't audio format. Anybody who's listening, imagine the whitest, like, suburban dad, like white New Balances that you can imagine.
That's Tim.
That's Tim.
Yeah.
Just
he had what I wanted.
Platinum white hair at a Wu-Tang and Nas concert. I would just pay just to watch Tim in that situation.
I bet Tim was going hard.
He probably loved it. I'm sure he loved it.
He was telling me before he went, he's just, trying to experience as much as he can. So I thought that's definitely something I respect. I thought was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, he's always had those cool things though. He always has those little things.
I know I'm pretty sure he's big on Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, I believe it.
Pretty cool.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. I forget where I was going though. But yeah, it just gave me the opportunity to just get into life and learn to live life. I don't want to say like a normal person because I don't look at myself as normal.
No.
But
normal sucks
at least in this society.
Yeah.
But it gave me the opportunity to live things I would have never done. We got kids here now.
I know.
I got two. It's a beautiful experience.
Yep.
2 girls, right?
Beautiful wife. Yep. Two girls.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah. What the I actually always envisioned myself having boys.
Yeah.
I'll try not to
but
take it
being
too
a girl
far,
dad's the best, dude. Let's be real.
It's
great.
When they told me,
I'll be signaled out. Keep going.
I'll be honest. When they told me, when we found out the sex of my first one, I was a little bit disappointed.
Yeah.
But now after. It quickly changed. Like I wouldn't have it any other way now.
How old is your one daughter? Your oldest daughter is what, 5?
4.
4. Okay.
She'll be 5 next month.
Yeah.
So right about to go into kindergarten.
Yep.
Oh, that's so cool, dude.
And the other one's what, 3?
2.
2.
Yeah. She'll be 3 in September.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she's the same age as Evie.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah. Magnus is 1 month younger than her.
Okay.
Yeah, he's October.
Nice.
Crazy. Oh my God.
Yep. So now I'm just. That's one example. I did I know a lot of typical people get clean and go back to school. I did that, got into a career, but whatever.
Well, you never were in school though, right?
Yeah,
you went back. Were you in college when you were using or anything, or you went back when you got clean? Right?
I went to H. This is a typical using story. I went to HCC to take 2 classes while I was using.
Oh, we were probably there together, dude.
We were probably all there together.
I dropped out that first semester.
I saw Eric and I was like, fuck that, dude.
Exactly. While I was using, there's these
Go Dragons, though. Go Dragons.
There was these peaks where it's like things seems to get better. I'm not that bad off.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, "Why don't you go to school?" So I went to school, and I wound up early into the semester. I wound up getting kicked out of my parents' house.
Happens.
I was, I went to my first few classes, and then it's like something came up. Oh, I need to make a deal, or
anything.
And like I skipped a class, and then I skipped another class, and it quickly became this. I've already missed too many classes. I might as well just stop going.
Yeah, you're gonna fail anyway.
And I didn't officially drop out or anything. I just stopped going.
I think I got 1A while I was in community college, and it was in like music history / theory. That was the only thing I did. Everything else, I was like, fuck all this. I knew I took a math class and I failed it horribly.
Yeah, at this point, I didn't complete any classes. I went to just a few, and it was easy for me to be like, my parents kicked me out of their house. It was easy for me to use that as an excuse.
Yeah. We have a very similar, I guess, freshman year story then.
Yeah,
because I got kicked out. I went to HCC.
Yeah,
it was like the same sort of thing.
Did you get good grades at Salisbury?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get good. I dropped out my first semester. Same as you.
3.75 GPA.
Boom, boom.
My hero. All right. So how did you get to today?
So yeah. After that, man, it's just I got clean. My first year, I got a job. It was a shit job. Shit job. Bagel shop. Mm-hmm. But I was just
which bagel shop?
Einstein Bagel.
Fucking right.
But here's an awesome story about that.
Who was so hyped about bagels?
Bagels
I got the job. When I went, again, determination. Every day, I wanted to get a job. Every day I would take the bus to a different shopping center and apply everywhere in that shopping center. And I faced a lot of,
a lot of no's.
I probably still carried a street aura to me. Mm-hmm. I remember people like, "Hey, can I fill the application out here?" They're like, "No, just take it home."
Yeah, just take it.
So, despite doing that, I still continued to just
back when paper applications existed.
Yeah, eventually this place, Einstein Bagels, gives me a call. I get the job. I start working there. I know nobody.
Yeah.
But what started to happen is I saw one lady would she had all the key tags, and she would just wear it out in the open. Another lady one day I just saw her put her keys on the thing. Mm-hmm. So she had, it was a black key tag. Mm-hmm. So, I said something to her, and it turned out, I think it was at least 4, maybe 5 people that
all in recovery.
All knew each other, that they took the bus from the city to work here.
Nice. In Ellicott City?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Holy shit, dude.
So I'm surrounded by recovery. Mm-hmm. I'm living in a halfway house. I go to work. I'm around people in recovery, and then after work. I'm hanging out with people in recovery.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, the first year was about recovery and my crap job. Mm-hmm. I don't want to call it a crap job. It was, what I needed.
Hey man, got you. It's what
call
you
it a starter job,
right?
Yeah, starter job. They, there was zero opportunity for growth there. It was just like, we don't give raises.
Bagels, man.
Yeah. We don't give raises.
You want to schmear?
There was very, very rare cases where people got, and I did my job good there.
Yeah.
I joked around a lot. I clowned around a lot, and I think my manager hated me because of that.
Probably.
I remember telling him I'm going to school, and he's like, "Don't waste your parents' money."
Oh, what a dick! What a dick!
It's those things though that motivate you to.
I'll show him.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, man.
So yeah, man. I went to school. Y'all know Allison that was on here a few weeks ago. Actually, probably a month or 2 now.
Yeah.
I met her.
How early in recovery did you two get together? Because you're both fresh.
So I think I had close to 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Did Allison have 30 days?
A little more than that. I had my first dating experience. I had 2.5 months, and the other girl had 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I just didn't really know better.
No.
Dude, none of us knew better at that time.
Yeah, but it wasn't a good look.
Except for Carly. Carly's the complete out. You had an established
Carly
relationship.
had a relationship.
That's
it's different.
I remember.
I just got lucky.
I go.
I remember Tim pulling me up about it, and he's like, "Hey, everyone's talking about you. You're dating with this," and I'm like, "Dude, I don't care. I just want to stay clean."
Yeah.
So if you're like, I don't care about like I don't think I like had a. I don't think I was fully integrated to like the community yet, so I didn't really care as much about.
Did the girl stay clean with 2 weeks?
No.
No. Oh, another one bites the dust.
She might be now. I don't know. Hopefully she is.
Yeah.
Hopefully she is. Mm-hmm. You know, or doing well. You know, either way. But yeah. So I got with my wife. She had like it was still a matter of months.
Yeah.
So still not. She had like probably 3 or 4 months when we started flirting around with each other a little bit. I think we kind of just like both wait after the meeting for everyone to leave and just talk, just us.
Nice.
But even though it wasn't the typical 1 year of recovery, what we both did before we, actually moved on it was we both talked to our sponsors.
Yeah.
Her sponsor said, "Man, at least just work the second step first so you don't make him your higher power."
Nice.
And I don't remember my sponsor having any specific advice, but he wasn't against it. I think he felt good about it, and it worked out. And we have a beautiful family today. I graduated college. It was a long process. It's 4 years. It wound up being like 6 for me, maybe even more.
Yeah.
Like I didn't do any summer or winter classes, and I did 12 credits a semester. So doing it like that and going from community college to a regular college, it just made
like 5 or 6 years.
It wound up being 6 years for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was able to get into a career in my field. That's been another tough thing for me. It was hard to find a job, my first job.
You're literally answering one of my questions.
That's you also had a career, though, before you graduated, kind of. Like, you killed bugs for, like, a long fucking time.
Yeah, I think I did that for about 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, it's funny because
I thought you did it for, like, a decade. You worked for that place.
It wasn't that long.
No? Okay.
Maybe 3, but I think it was around 2.
I thought you worked for that place for like ever, dude.
I totally forgot.
Maybe it was 3. The funny thing is I love nature, I love bugs, but
yeah,
sometimes they have to go.
Some of those motherfuckers gotta die.
Yeah.
Sometimes they gotta die.
I feel bad killing bugs until they like come into my house and I'm like, okay, it's either you or me. Like I've had a fly infestation, I've had a flea infestation, and
oh my god, fleas were
the worst.
Fleas are the absolute. I would not wish that on my enemies. It's fucking awful. It is awful.
Yeah.
But go ahead, continue, Matt.
But yeah, I did that. But my like getting into my current career was very difficult. Everyone, I do software engineering, and when I was getting into school, like everyone's like, "Oh, be a software. There's always going to be jobs."
Yeah.
But I'm sure that's what everyone was being told.
Exactly, and so it flooded the market with employees.
Yes. While there were jobs available, there was so much competition.
Yep.
And I finally got this job. It was a startup. And it wasn't a good scenario.
Yeah.
It was, the owner was like a complete scammer.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was like scamming insurance companies. I'm pretty sure he was banned from doing what he was doing, and he was doing it under his partner's name.
Yeah. Ooh.
Nice.
I don't like working for those types of people. That's sketch.
Yeah. And I didn't know this this is stuff I'm finding out as I'm already working there.
Yeah.
And, it's little pay and work all these extra hours under the premise that when we launch, you're going to get all these bonuses and raises that the launch date was completely getting pushed back and pushed back. And then I got 2 other jobs, and it's just...
How long have you been in your current job?
I've been there for about 2.5 years, which is really good for me.
And you two worked at the same company too,
back
right?
when I was in the home group, it was at least once a year where you were just like, man, I fucking hate my job. I got to do something new, and like really, it was a cycle for a little while.
Didn't you two work at the same company for a bit?
No, I was there after him. Skyline.
Oh yeah,
Skyline. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Skyline is a bad place.
No, I think it's I think it's a very good company. It just where I was at the time and like what they were paying me, and like I had a kid on the way. I was like, I gotta get more money.
They didn't pay good.
Yeah.
They had good benefits.
They had great benefits.
For that field, I mean, nothing particularly spectacular.
No.
But
they also gave you more PTO than any other company I've been at.
Yeah,
because
I've
stayed in that field.
Like Matt, you're a software engineer, right? Yeah. Like that's your trade. I mean, when you get to a certain level and you work for certain companies, there's a huge difference in like quality of life.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where you are now, but is it better than where it was when you originally started?
Yeah. I really like where I'm at now. Like the places I worked at before, I mean, I don't even think this is specific to the technology field, man. I just, everywhere I was at before this, I just felt like they want to get as much out of you as possible for little as possible.
And then just move on. Like you're kind of just rotating, like.
Well, just that super corporate nature that like. I have to feel and you're probably the same. I gotta feel appreciated as an actual human being and not just a number.
Yes.
Like if you're just treating me like a number, like here, do this, fill out these forms, do this, and it's just like, I could be anybody. Like I could be fucking Chad, Brent, or Brian. It doesn't fucking matter who's in my seat. Like you don't care.
Who's Brent?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know.
Yeah. Like I have no problem working a reasonable amount of overtime.
Yeah.
If there's a need to do it.
Yeah.
But the one job I was at, it's like work overtime. Like, are you working late tonight? Or for just like arbitrarily, are you working late tonight?
Yeah, and like they always put it like, oh, well, you know, it's voluntary. It's voluntary. But, I mean, you really should do it.
Yeah,
it's like
you don't have to leave right at 5 every day type stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you don't work overtime, like, oh, just an 8 and skate kind of guy, huh? All right. Like, fuck off.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, what? Like, I don't know, man. I'm different from the typical societal ideas. Yeah. For me, it's like we are supposed to sleep for 8 hours. That means we're left with 16 hours just from that. And then, it's a lot of other stuff we have to do. That means 8 hours is half of your day.
Yeah.
And then getting ready to go there, communicating back, not communicating.
Yeah, commuting.
Commuting back and forth.
Makes it like 10 hours.
You have to make up your break at most jobs. So it's like, dude, I'm already giving you over half my day.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yes, I'm leaving at 5.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of other people, grind.
Yeah. I know about that.
I'm not here. I'm here to do my job. I want to do my job. I want to do a good job at it. But I'm not here to just like live to work.
Yeah. All right. We've digressed too far into the jobs. Yeah. All right. So
I want to say one more thing recovery related to that is that I see a lot of people get clean and then they just get a job that's like all these crazy hours and they don't stay clean because by the time they're done working, they don't want to go to a meeting.
Yeah.
Or do recovery related things. So.
Yeah. Got to find that balance.
I think, absolutely.
All right.
Okay, cool.
We'll wrap it up and we'll get to some questions.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man. I mean, that pretty much wraps it up, man. That's how I'm here, man. Recovery, I'll say this recovery is different with kids.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I go to my home group. I consistently go to my home group. But I don't.
For what? How long have you been at that? For 15 years?
Yep.
That was your first home group, right?
Yep.
Holding it down.
That's crazy, dude.
Yep. So it's different. And having a wife in recovery with kids, if we're both going to meetings, even if we both went to 2 meetings a week, it's going to be unmanageable with the kids.
Yeah.
So we do our home group. Sometimes each of us will go to an anniversary.
Same.
Or gets asked to speak at a meeting. But it's different. But I still make sure I stay consistent on certain things.
Yeah.
Prayer and meditation.
Yep.
That's a huge part of my recovery.
Hell yeah.
So.
All right. Well, we definitely got some questions for you.
Awesome.
Carly, start us off.
Okay. Well, you took my first question about balancing recovery and being a dad. So Been in the same home group for 15 years, so how do you keep recovery fresh after that amount of time?
Ooh, you took my question. Good job.
That's a good question. I'll say one thing. This is going to be counteractive to what you typically hear.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I was new, I went to meetings every day.
Oh, yeah.
For,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Years.
I remember, like...
Years.
Yeah, I remember being in my second year, and I would get tired of being in meetings.
Yeah.
You can overdo it, right?
But I felt I needed to be there.
But you can burn it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just... I had to pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think, like, only going to one meeting a week kind of helps keep it fresh. It's not the same thing over and over again. Now, I would, like, if I felt like I was slipping, I would step it up more.
Yeah.
Or if I, if I didn't have kids, I wouldn't be going every day, but I would be going more than I go to now.
Yeah.
But
even before I had my kid, like, as the years went on, like, I didn't, and that's kind of how it should be. Like, if you have 5, 6, 7 years clean, you shouldn't have to go to a meeting. Like, what have you been doing for the last 6 years that you still need a meeting every day? And I'm not knocking anybody who has 20 years, whatever, any amount of clean time. If you're going to a meeting every day, good for you.
Right.
Like, for me,
like, if you're retired,
something
like
fuck,
that.
if you're not doing anything, fuck, go to a meeting.
Yeah.
But yeah, the point is to not need the meetings every day. So like, we're building a life outside of recovery. That's the whole point of this. And once you have a wife, a kid, a career, like, life gets full. So
stop using and start living programs.
Because Tim V talked about that, about how, like, at like one of his upper teen anniversaries, like, his daughters were there and they were like, we didn't even know any of this because you were never home. Like, you were just hiding out in meetings for years. And he was like, oh shit. So yeah, work-life balance that's tough.
Yeah, that, and man, I think just keeping life fresh.
Yeah.
Staying up on my hobbies, man, and kids, man. Life's always changing with kids.
You're still skateboarding.
Oh yeah, you do have very specific hobbies.
Yeah.
Skateboards and records.
Yeah. I haven't, since I had kids, I kind of put the record digging and scratching to the side.
Oh, what I do?
You were scratching?
You didn't do anything.
I didn't know you were scratching.
Yep, a little bit.
A little bit?
Scratching and mixing.
Really?
Just like buying a bunch of, hip-hop singles and putting different vocals to different instrumentals.
No, dude, that's fucking dope, man.
I've also seen Matt, ride the mean waves of the OC.
Oh, yeah. I love surfing.
What waves are those? How big are those waves?
5-foot waves.
I go to Delaware, so like, I know Ocean City.
It's the same fucking waves.
No, they aren't.
Dude.
They aren't the same. They're different. They're totally different, dude.
Mm.
They're different. Go to Ocean City and then go up to the Delaware beaches. Like, Ocean City has more of a break.
Yeah,
and I feel like there's also, like, you'll have more sandbars. Like, you can go further out in OC.
No, not anymore. That's like has not been a thing for years now.
Really?
Sandbars. I miss it. Like,
Oh,
every
they're
time,
gone?
every summer that I'm at the beach, that's all I wait for is a sandbar so I can go out far. Never happens.
I don't know why back in the day I could just see you just chilling on a sandbar with like a wine cooler, like a bottle of wine, drinking in the middle of the ocean.
I don't think I ever got to that point.
That would have been 90s Carly, with a nice little Boone's farm,
So Ocean City still gets...
Wearing like a Saved by the Bell bikini.
Ocean City still gets sandbars, but it's only like certain spots. You have to kind of either go looking for them or you have to be connected with somebody to know.
To the surfer community.
But and Delaware has spots, but for the most part, it's just breaking right on
breaks.
the
It's hard breaks on the, like... It's great if you want to get pummeled by waves when you're like a kid.
That's how it's been in Ocean City the past couple of years. Maybe I'm going at the wrong time in the wrong spot.
It could be.
But it's the same spot I went growing up. And it sucks.
See, I was a Carolina Beach kid. I was a Carolina Beach kid.
Too fucking far.
That's where I learned how to surf.
Yeah, they got decent surfing down there.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about, first you need a sandbar, and then there has to be a storm off the coast or something to generate waves.
Yeah, to get the good shit.
And the wind has to be blowing in the right direction.
I know. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of it.
North Carolina, I usually have better luck there.
Hell yeah. All right, Eric, what you got?
All right, I'm gonna do it. What? Where did you get that accent, Matt? Where did it come from? Where did it come from? I have to know.
I had a feeling because I think you asked Allison too.
I did. Where'd it come from?
I mean, I don't know, like what. Because to me, my voice, I actually like my voice now. I used to hate my voice. But to me, I guess it's just from, I started I'm hanging around those types of people.
No, I see that part. And like, I see how you got it.
Then I went to jail. And, that's how, if maybe I picked something up there. Even like early in my recovery, I'm still hanging out with sketchy people.
You're still smoking cigarettes with people
that are trying to get clean and telling war stories. I mean, I guess now, I'm, surrounded by hip hop culture, so it could be that.
It's still there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hip hop.
I mean,
culture.
You're just from Colombia. I have to ask because, like,
I have the Colombia accent.
Because David, he'll be like, when you guys are always like, I'm from the mean streets of Colombia. I'm like, where are those mean streets? Like, where are they?
I mean, I was held at gunpoint 3 separate times in Colombia. So, like, on the outside, the Colum bubble looks like the perfect little suburb.
It is the perfect suburb. I found out you guys are connected by, like, fucking trails.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that. That's, the cutest thing I've ever heard. It's like, we can just walk to, like, the next neighborhood.
Dude, the bike paths were the shit.
And that's where we used.
That's where we fucking used, yeah.
It's so dope.
Yeah, the bike paths and the tot lots. Hell yeah.
It's pretty cool. I didn't know how much, like, Columbia's a lot cooler as an adult than when I was a kid.
Yeah, because, like, it is very family friendly. Like, I can ride my bike from Oakland Mills to Hammond to Howard to Athelton to anywhere, and like you're not on these shitty sidewalks about to get hit by a car.
No, you're like in the woods.
Fantastic.
It's pretty cool.
That's what I got to do for like my summer job all the time.
Oh, really?
Adventure camps for Howard County.
Yeah,
and we would do the bike ride from Centennial, and then we would go I don't even know. We'd end up by the lakefront and somewhere else, and we'd end at Shadowland because the last activity was laser tag.
Yeah.
And so it was like a whole freaking circle where we never had to go on the street.
So that's my next question.
Yeah, and you're
Matt,
just going through the woods.
How many times have you been to Shadowland?
Oh.
I think just once or twice.
What the fuck?
Jesus Christ, Eric. You peaked like a motherfucker. Jesus Christ. I've been like...
I love Shadowland.
At least
Definitely.
at least 2 dozen times.
I cannot wait until Evelyn's old enough to go to Shadowland.
Oh my God.
I hear that.
You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm sure they updated it. All right.
I'm gonna fuck up some kids.
Off of you behind the door. I want some question. How difficult is it? Because you talked about changing your normal. Because the people around you, you were hanging out with skaters, people who were using people in the hip hop culture, and using was your normal. So how do you how difficult is it to change your normal to surrounding your people in recovery?
I think for me it actually kind of came natural. Now I had a few times where I went to people I used to hang out with said, "Oh, we won't use around you. You can come hang out with us." Yeah. And every time that wasn't the case. I remember I went and hung out with
rude.
I remember I went and hung. I don't want to say that in one group I went and hang out with. Like at least they took the blunt outside, so they had some respect.
Oh, that's nice of them.
And I remember one girl I went to hang out with.
Ooh, speaking of which, preferred way to smoke weed, was it blunts?
Yeah, blunts or bowls. I mean, it depends.
Me too.
Blunts or bowls.
Yeah, blunts are so bad. Okay, if you're smoking blunts, they're bad for you.
Blunts, guys.
It's all bad for you.
But blunts are especially bad for you.
Yeah.
They're like the worst. Like that paper is like, ugh.
You take off the cancer paper, dum-dum. You ever roll a blunt?
Yeah, I usually rip some of that off.
Yeah. Anyway, back to changing your normal.
There was one girl I went to hang with, and I saw myself in her so much. And I just smoked weed with this girl before, so I didn't even think of her as an addict, but I went to hang out with her. She had a blunt, and she had to smoke it. Ooh, and it just reminded me so much of myself. And to this point, I didn't see that in her. Because there was never a reason not to smoke before, and now there's a reason, and she had to smoke it.
Yep.
And you know, I watched her smoke it. She's like, "You can hit it, Matt. Don't worry. I won't let anything bad happen to you." And I'm like, "Oh, well, maybe today, but not after that. You're not going to be able to stop me."
Yeah.
So I quickly learned, man, I can't hang around the people I used with. And I realized if I kept, like, luckily I stayed clean through those few times. But had I continued to, I would have eventually slipped in.
Yep.
And luckily, it was easy. It was easy to build a network.
Yeah.
There was a lot of young people, you know, trying to get that were already clean, trying to get clean.
You're like the predecessor of our like Eric and I, we call it our graduating class. Because you have like 15, and then like Allie has like 13.
Well,
Brad
there's
has
Nick.
Brad and Donnie have around 12. There's Nick has right around your amount of time. And then there's
Yeah.
me. I have 11. So like, yeah, that like few year span, like you were at the upper echelon of that. So yeah, when I was coming in, I'm like, oh, this guy has 3 years fucking clean. I'm like, this guy's crazy.
Absolutely.
Well, there was like
I
there
saw
was a
that
little
shit you
break
posted
in
about
you
Slipknot,
guys.
and I was like, you know Slipknot? I was like, all right, this guy's fucking cool.
Because you guys had like Allie and Dan and like, and then there was our group right after, and then there was no group for like another 10 years.
And then
for some
Carly's
reason.
the oldest.
Carly's her
oldest-
little self.
Well,
by
no,
herself.
she's the oldest head of like everybody who's coming behind her.
That's
'Cause you
rude.
have
Don't say that.
7,
How dare you?
6.
6. You're
So
going
you're
on
saying
7.
she isn't
I
part
just
of
got
our
6.
generation, David?
You're still going on 7. All right.
I feel like there's definitely a COVID group.
There's a COVID group.
And
Oh yeah,
right?
there's a COVID group for sure.
I feel like it's special because the people who got clean during the time of
Clean
COVID,
on the screen.
Yeah, like it's a lot of people who are already clean that are like, man, screw that Zoom stuff. But these are the people getting clean at the time, like that. You know, you had to do. What
You had to want
do.
it. You had
Right.
to really fucking want it because
Well,
if you're
yeah.
if you're stuck at home, like I never would have gotten clean. Fuck
I
no.
noticed you're
Hell
bringing
no.
more young people around now, which is nice. Like, because for like, it seemed like recovery for a while. Like when I would come back around in the rooms, it's just like the same people, and it does seem like there's new faces.
Yeah.
that are like young.
There was like there's a pretty big gap between like me and like Carly because like I was like at the tail end of that, like me.
You were the last
me,
one,
Matt,
David.
Brad. I was the last of the Mohicans.
You were the last one.
And then because who has like 8 years, 9 years that we know? I don't know anybody. Everybody
I'm
I
sure
know,
they're there.
they're there, but there wasn't that like big group. Like we have a big group of like 10 to 15.
We had a group.
Yeah.
And right now there's a big group of like 6 to 2, and like you're at the top of that. Because then there's Joey and Amber and like a whole bunch of other people, Christina, that are like right after you. So
Well, right.
There was a
right
gap
around the same
after
time
us.
before.
Yeah.
Joey, I think's like a couple weeks before me.
But if
Not
you
clean.
saw,
He just celebrated
there was
5.
a 10-year group when we were all
You're a
young.
year ahead of Joey.
Like, because
You're a year
wasn't
ahead
it
of Amber,
like Chip and like fucking what's his name? It was like Chip and all those guys had like 10 plus years.
Oh,
when
yeah.
we were
That
around.
whole home group.
There was a huge like contingent of 10 plus that
Yeah.
were together.
I
So
really did come in alone.
you did come in alone.
you came in first.
You came in alone.
Yeah.
And I'm still alone.
Oh God.
That's the name of your podcast.
All right, what you got, Carly?
So when you talked about when you first came into the rooms, like you were happy it was so repetitive, because even though you didn't want to hear it, you still heard something. So going back to that, or like, what has become your favorite cliche?
Ooh. Check another one of mine.
I don't know if I have a favorite cliche. I'm
Gotta
trying
pick
to
Maybe
think.
some that just stick out.
Maybe work the steps or die, MFer.
There you go.
You cuss work
I
the
love
steps
that,
or die,
motherfucker.
motherfucker.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah, you can cuss on it.
Actually,
That's a Tim.
that make that when people cuss, it makes me feel comfortable.
Yes.
Dude, that's like such a Tim thing though, right? Like work the steps or die.
Just
like,
because the steps they've been so vital to my recovery and changing who I am. I did them because I was scared to not do them because I just wanted to stay clean, and then I wound up becoming a better person.
well, with the sponsorship family, you had to work the steps.
Yeah.
Like if you're not working the steps, like why are you working with Tim?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What else you got, Eric?
I guess we'll stay on the steps. Like, I mean, since we're in the same sponsorship family for a long time, how many times did you work the steps with Tim?
So with Tim, I did my first set of steps in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Damn.
Within my 2 years.
That's what I did too. My first round was 2 years.
Yep. And then we did the traditions.
Yep.
And then he's like...
Did you do another round like the AA way?
I did not.
I did the AA way the next time with him.
After that, for a while, he's like, chill out, work steps with other people, get some sponsees to work steps with. I don't have any sponsees at the time, but there was a lot of... Working with sponsees, I found, is pretty cool because, not all of them stay. So what happens, I feel like the earlier the steps, the more important they are.
One of mine just went back out.
So you wind up working steps like 1, 2, and 3 over again, which is the foundation.
Yeah.
And I did have a sponsee. Unfortunately, he passed away from health issues.
Shit,
but
man.
I did have someone that I did
Oh,
take
was that
all the way
French?
through 12. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love Chris.
Man.
So rest in peace to him.
What
he
happened?
was a good
Like,
dude.
was that just health? Like, he went in and just shit went... I mean, I know he's a big dude.
Yeah, I can't
Like-
remember exactly. I think it had to do with the
With his
lungs.
health, yeah.
I think he might have known he was going to. I thought he was going to make it. He was in the hospital. I thought, oh, he's going to. You know, I tend to think positively.
Yeah.
I think he might have known, but not wanted to tell me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I went to visit him. You know, we told each other we love you, and I was just assuming he was going to pull through.
He was so angry.
He came around so much.
He was so...
Yeah.
He would have some angry shares sometimes, but
Yeah.
But he came around.
He did come
so
around.
much.
He was always around.
Yeah.
Early on, he was so...
Like, him and Debbie would always, like... I don't know what that was about.
He'd be angry, and he would talk to people, and people would give him advice, and every advice he'd have a rebuttal to.
Yeah.
And eventually, like, he went through several sponsors before he got to me, and when he asked him, I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
But I also I forget exactly how it went down, but I think I like said, like, are you ready to stick with me?
Yeah.
Like there's not a point if you're just gonna switch.
Yeah.
So I forget exactly how the conversation went down, but I just didn't want to be a part of that same pattern.
Yeah.
But
He died clean, though, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was so like he would get on my nerves sometimes because every time I talked to him, he would literally talk 100% in recovery lingo. And I didn't say it, but sometimes I wanted to be like, would you talk to me like a normal human being?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how much he was about recovery.
Yeah. All right. Ooh, I want to go into this. Ooh, I'm gonna ask 2 questions. So, I gave Allison the chance to do this, so I'm gonna give you the chance.
Okay.
What is a funny, goofy thing that Allison does?
Funny, goofy
I can
thing.
see Alice doing
Because I
some
remember
funny
her
things.
answer. Her answer was like, you just have like super dad stuff, like something like a dad saying, you'll be like, well, she keeps having these snacks and we gotta cut that shit out. So that was the funny thing you did. So what's something funny Allison does? Just anything goofy or weird.
That was the cheese stick, right?
Yeah,
The cheese stick.
Yeah, the cheese stick.
Dude, my daughter
Yeah.
loves cheese.
I'm going to take my chance to take my rebuttal there. Is that she says he says don't let them look at our phone or watch TV at night, and she's like, she says I let her watch my phone last night and she fell asleep. And I'm like, oh, the one time,
Yeah,
the one time she actually fell asleep. I'm trying to think. We have
I always love getting couples on here because there's hilarious shit that comes out.
I'm trying to think. I would say I think this is typical in relationships.
All right.
If she gets mad at me for something,
Okay.
you know, I just have to take the brunt of it, kind of.
Yep.
If I get mad at her, then she'll get mad at me
Yeah.
because I'm mad at her.
Yep.
And then I still have to take the brunt of it.
Yep. Yep.
I guess that could be the funny thing.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I mean, and that's just that's women in general. Like,
Yeah.
we have to tread lightly with our.
I don't do that. Though.
And I guess this might be more funny is if she's mad at me about something, when she decides not to be mad anymore and she's like, she wants it to go
go back to normal.
100% switch. Now she's not mad at me anymore, and I'm just supposed to bounce right back with it.
You're just like, oh, we're talking. All right, cool. All right. And you are the champion of recovery housing. How long were you at the Donnelly house?
I think it was around 6 or 7 years.
6 or 7 years.
Did Allison live with you at the Donnelly house?
She did not. That's a whole nother topic.
You're like, sort of, but not really.
She would spend the nights. Probably like, it wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
But she would a reasonable amount of time, maybe like once or twice during the weekend.
Yeah. But Mike and Joni also loved you, and they were like,
I think they knew, but I think it was like an unspoken thing.
Well, it was kind of like you kind of had like an apartment there for the last bit of it, right? Like it wasn't really, was it still a house for you, or did you have like your own space?
I had my own bedroom. I worked my way to the master bedroom, which had its own bathroom. Yeah, but what wound up happening is other people, I guess, saw that I was doing it, and they started doing it and would do stuff like go to work and leave their girlfriend there, or have their girl stay like every night. Like other people kind of had their girlfriends almost live there, and then Mike and Joni were like, "This has got to stop."
Yeah. So my question is, and like just the talking point is, how important is that like 3/4 housing? Because it's not like a halfway house; it is like that 3/4.
It's great. I continue to be surrounded, by people in recovery. Continue to have a level of accountability. That's about it. I'd like to think that I would have still, after the 6-month halfway house, I'd still have the self-motivation, but that was just, I don't know. That was another, level of accountability. Yeah. And it was definitely nice being around people in recovery that just, it feels like home when you're living with people that are like you.
Yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Well, Eric, do you have a final question? Because I think Carly's out. Yep. Final question, Eric? Yes? No?
What's your favorite Wu-Tang member?
Oh.
Who is your favorite Wu-Tang member?
That's a good one.
Inspector Deck.
Really? Yes. Mine's RZA.
RZA.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that for you.
Yeah, for me? Well, with all the music, yeah, it makes sense that RZA would be there.
Yeah. I think
mine's got to be Method.
Inspector Deck, man, just his lyric. He's not like a forefront guy. Yeah. But he's the most lyrical.
I mean, he's like one of the he's the back guy, right? Like, I mean, cuz
I think he has a lot
they all
of
have their songs.
First verses.
Yeah. Well, cuz like him and ODB, and then like
Ghostface
and
dude, there's so many. Yeah. You God, but I got to go with Method Man.
Even like, all right, I'm not gonna say any names, but there's like one or two people from the Wu-Tang that people are like, oh, this person sucks, and it's like,
who?
What? All right, like a lot of people will say they don't like You God.
Well, because
I love You God.
Because I forget about You God. Yeah. Like when I'm like
people forget about Capadonna too.
Yeah.
When I'm going through the original Wu-Tang, I'm like, I can never remember You God ever. Like I'm like, I get there and I'm like, who's the last two members?
Like, first of all, he definitely has some really dope verses.
Yeah.
But when people say he's like the least, like he's the least of the best group in the world.
Yeah. The best. It's the best rap group ever. 100%.
That's true. Absolutely. And I forget Master Killer too, actually.
I love Master Killer. But you guys definitely got some classic verses.
Because isn't Raekwon like the real... I mean, he's the lyricist, right?
Like, they're all
definitely
lyricists.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah, but dude, Method was fucking nasty.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. They were all good. Anyway. All right. Well, we are about out of time, so we would like to thank our friend Matt for joining us today.
Woo! Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
And one last quick minute, talking to anybody out there who needs to hear that message of hope. What do you have to say directly to them?
Just dive in. Dive in. Watch what other people do. You can learn what to do and what not to do. It's a 12-step program. So in most cases, just going to meetings isn't enough. Yep. It can be enough for a period of time, but we all have reasons that, as opposed to normal people, that we use the way we do.
Yep.
So we all have underlying things that we need to address. So that's where the steps and the other parts of the program come in.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, thanks again, brother. I'm so happy to have you on here.
Yeah, man.
Glad to be here. Definitely glad being around y'all.
Hell yeah. All right, and here at Podcast Recovery, we're aiming to expand the scope of support for recovering addicts. Accessibility and convenience of helpful services is paramount to combating addiction. We work to bring the message of recovery to every addict, wherever and whenever it is needed. We believe that a powerful voice of recovery should be obtainable, practical, and at the touch of a button. Every addict deserves to hear a message of hope, and Podcast Recovery is here to provide it. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us. Once again, go to all our social media outlets, which are now, at this point, too fucking long to list.
Yep.
Go to our merch store and pick up some cool shit that we have merch now. And we got merch.
Buy I want to shout out one type.
Okay.
Like, buy our doormat.
If you say doormat, goddamn.
That says, sit down, shut up, and listen to the message.
That's a solid doormat. It's a solid doormat. And don't be a doormat, everybody out there. So yeah, go do all that. Help us keep the mics on. Join our Patreon. We are self-supporting, so, help donate to us. That'd be great. But most importantly, everybody out there,
stay safe and stay clean.